Alright guys, so welcome to the Legendary Tiki analysis, build analysis, meta implications, what this means with this brand new unit in the game. Now this is a first. I actually don't do this commonly, but I felt it was necessary for Tiki being released since there is a little bit of controversy for this unit, and I wanted to clear it up and tell you what it could mean for the game and possibly what it means for you and maybe some decision making in the future. So first of all, we're going to look at builds, we're going to look at comparisons, same kind of idea as any new unit, but this one's going to be focused strictly on Tiki and nothing else in particular. Now I wanted to preface this by saying that I am giving my own opinion on a lot of this stuff. So try to keep things positive if you leave some comments below, or feel free to join the Discord to have some good discussions if you disagree, or even in the comments if you disagree. Just make sure things are civil, constructive, and in a good, positive light, okay? So don't feel burnt by my view on these things, and it's coming from tier 21, top 1k arena assault, the top of the game, and what it really means to have, well, 180 BST in this case, right? So let's talk about Tiki herself and what implications it brings to the game. As someone who's in free-to-play tier 21, 180 BST unit as Tiki was, first of all, not a surprise, as I talked about in yesterday's Should You Summon video. She's a trainee unit. We never had a Generation 2 BST trainee unit. A trainee unit is someone that starts off weak, low stats, and then has high stats at the end. So young Tiki, the original one, was Generation 1, had that bonus stats compared to somebody like Laszlo, who wasn't a trainee unit. And then Generation 2, you had Summer Young Tiki, also had that bonus stats, but she was Gen 2 and had bonus stats on flyers. So that made a difference there. The thing to realize here, though, is that we didn't have an armor in Generation 2. We had a trainee armor in Generation 1, which was Amelia. So this wasn't a big surprise to me, but I want to talk about what it actually means for arena assault, and just kind of like the future of the game. So first of all, this isn't necessarily like some sort of score creep in a way that's deliberate. Like, it's not like Ira and the whole difference between Generation 1 and Generation 2 of units. This hasn't happened yet. It's still within the rules and confounds of what Intelligent Systems is doing by adding specific units that have that extra BST. Like, we're not going to get some new armor unit in next banner or the banner after that's just going to have all 180 BST for no reason. They're not doing that. They haven't shown signs of doing that. If they release, maybe like Noe as an armor or something, then sure, maybe they'll add that BST boost, but it's on specific units, and that's what I'm saying. So it's still within the rules of that happening. Nothing new is coming that should imply anything out of this. Second of all, a lot of people look at this and like, well, GG, pay to win, and there's no way I can compete anymore. The thing is, this doesn't actually increase the floor of scoring in a significant way unless you spend thousands of orbs, like unless the majority of the player base spends thousands of orbs to merge up Tiki. That's what I'm going at here. So she just got released after a whole month of lots of orbs, like lots of banners and lots of orbs spent on thousands, thousands of people spending orbs all over the place. All of a sudden Tiki comes out. There isn't, like, I guarantee a majority of the fan base doesn't have 1,000 orbs lying around to significantly increase the floor of all the ranks, okay? And the secondary point on this is, even if the floor did increase in the lower rankings in tiers that aren't tier 21, tier 20, 20.5, or even 19.5, those rankings, they generally see a little bit of impact in this stuff, but anyone below, and if you're not competitive that highly, the best way to increase your score is just to add merges to your units or SP optimize using things like Ether, double rallies, 240 SP skills in every slot, and just generally using higher BST units like armors or now the dual skills, right? That's what I'm getting at. So unless people have thousands of orbs lying around as a whole collective group, you're not going to see much change in your rankings. The people this does affect are the people absolutely at the top, and I'm talking people like top 100, top 200, top 300 players. Those are the people that will spend those 1,000 orbs by using one of these, right? That doesn't affect most of us. It doesn't. So the person you're comparing yourself to is not anywhere close to you competitively. if, like, let's say, for example, someone was within your ranks that chose to spend 1,000 orbs or thousands of dollars to get higher, that person is officially nowhere in your league, and it's actually made your climb a little bit easier because there's like one less person to compete with in that case. So it's a little bit different compared to like dual skills or rally pluses, which did affect the floor versus the ceiling in a significant way. The ceiling has been raised, especially on Earth Season, but the floor is not significantly impacted because most people might get like 1 Tiki or 2 Tikis. And another thing to consider is that everyone has a free Earth Legendary Hero already. So if you're thinking like, oh no, the guy has a Tiki, I don't, he has an Earth Blessed team. The thing is, you have a Legendary Ike, and you can make an Earth Blessed team for free. It didn't cost you a single orb. So that's the difference there. You can still score pretty well and just use a different selection of units that can score to give yourself an edge, or you can focus on getting more bonus unit kills, or you can change your team comp in a way that adds more merges or SP optimization. You know, it's mostly about those sort of things until you reach, you know, the absolute ceiling of scoring. So the sky is falling, the world is crashing. I don't see it that way. That's my opinion on this. I'm playing at the top, and I still don't think Tiki's gonna affect me in much any way. Even when Lecter got released, you know, a lot of people said that was gonna significantly impact the meta. It did for Fire. It just requires more time, but I still am able to secure top 1K in tier 21 on a free-to-play account, no problem. It's just it's not impossible. There is no change that I feel is necessary to happen yet. If collectively as a group, everyone just starts saving orbs until her rerun, then yes, the floor will raise. But the reality is people won't do that. Most people won't. So anyways, that's my impression on Tiki as a brand new unit, 180 BST. Let's talk about her stats then. She is really good. I did expect her to be speedy. I did expect her to have good rounded stats all around. She does. But just as I mentioned yesterday, she has some weaknesses, okay? Her weaknesses are Dragon and Armor. These are significant weaknesses. They're dual weaknesses, and they're not that difficult to deal with on Arena Assault. If you end up seeing on the enemy team, bust out the 4-star bar tray with a hammer, and he's likely going to kill in one shot with like a Hone attack. Bartray has a great base attack. You give him a couple of buffs. Maybe he doesn't even need it if you have like Quick Impulse and Glimmer or something, and you know, just takes one hit and destroys her like easily, or Moonbow. You know, like there is really budget ways to deal with her that doesn't require high investment, and she's not going to be that difficult. On top of that, no Armor March means, you know, unless they change around the skill set, means that you can separate her with good gameplay and then deal with it over a couple of turns. So Tiki is she's a great unit, but I think she's going to be better on a player-controlled hands rather than enemy-controlled hands, just like most armors are to deal with. She's not on the level of like Zelgius with Black Lunas, or Bector with like Ignis, or M. Grima with Deathblow 4 reaching 80 attack, right? She's going to hit really hard, but she should be generally easier to deal with, especially if you can find stuff like Daedra, Julia, Bartray with hammers. Anyone with a hammer really will do pretty well here. Anyways, I'm going to talk about the builds a little bit. So, first build I want to show off is what should be pretty frightening to deal with. So, or you can build it yourself. Maybe want to use this as a bonus unit skill system. What I want to say here is I want to compare Tiki with some of the budget options in the 3 and 4 star pool as I normally do in my other videos. So I'm going to show that right now. Okay, I have Corrin here. So yeah, there's no way you can pretty much compare a legendary hero because there's so many differences here. First of all, Tiki's an armor, I acknowledge this. Corrin is an infantry, I acknowledge that, but they're both blue dragons. One is armored, one is not. Weaknesses are different. Corrin has like low attack, and Tiki is very well rounded in stats. Also, I've given Tiki the bonus unit stats because I expect her to be an arena bonus unit, and Corrin is just base skills. Now, you're looking at this probably and saying, well, Tiki's just strictly better in every way. What I want to consider, and I want to bring this up, is once she's not a bonus unit, a build like this will be pretty good for her being a support unit on your core team. So using Windsweep Poison Strike, she can use it really well because she has a decent speed stat with Dark Breath, of course, and this still scores optimally because of her C skill being 300 SP. Now, there is an advantage actually for Corrin here, and a low attack is actually a good thing. It is actually a good thing because she doesn't kill. And if she doesn't kill, then you can not risk the fact that Tiki will likely destroy whatever she attacks into to poison it. So by Corrin not killing something, her low attack stat helps her out here, and she can just soften up a unit for your bonus unit to kill in the arena. So that's one thing to consider. Now, you're looking at probably the HP 5. That is just me thinking in the future when Corrin gets a blue dual infantry skill. That's why HP 5 is there. Of course, if you don't have that, Steady Breath is fine as well for dual phases. Defense Smoke comes off Alphonse, but it might become more available in the future. That would be the ideal choice. Unless your bonus unit is a res unit, then you want to use Res Smoke. Or you could just use something else like Savage Blow and maybe take a hit in scoring. These are all things to consider as other options, or just a buff like Drive Attack or Drive Defense. Those are all can be subbed out. The goal is not really to look at budget here, but to look at their utility and comparisons between Tiki and what we already have. Tiki is, again, strictly better. This is why I don't usually compare Legendary Heroes, but I wanted to show you on somebody who kind of does a similar build. Okay, so another build, and honestly, the most budget thing you can do with Tiki is just using Fierce Breath, her base kit, and just slapping QR on her, right? That you've probably seen this on so many armors before, but it does work, so it doesn't really need much change to it. The beautiful thing with Tiki is that she doesn't actually need, like, she can avoid doubles, unlike a lot of the other Bold Fighter QR armors. So like if you gave this to Effie or something, she risks getting doubled and dying, so that's my concern there. Anyways, most people already have this. When you look at the unit that's compared to the left over there, that's Noe. A Steady Breath, Lightning Breath, Quick Repose Noe is a very common build that you can see, and she ends up being quite powerful as well. I didn't give her Fierce Breath because I just assume most people already have a build like this, but the role is fairly similar, with Tiki also being pretty good. Again, she's going to be tankier, faster, more HP, everything like that. Keep in mind, again, the Tiki in the middle has all the bonus stats from being a support unit. Now, between the Windsweep build and the Bold Fighter build, you should be using the Bold Fighter QR build in Arena when she's a bonus unit. That is much better for securing kills than the Windsweep is. The Windsweep build was strictly as a bonus unit for when you use her in the future. So honestly, overall, there's not much more to say over Tiki. She can definitely come up with some more other creative builds. You could probably be running like Light Breath or Water Breath or something. There's so many other builds. I didn't mention anything about the fact that her weapon has effective against dragons. That could actually be a consequence if you decide to keep that weapon and use it in the arena, because killing is not a good idea if you want to optimize score. So yeah, great unit. Think if you want to save up like to summon for her, I don't really recommend just going strictly for Tiki, even though she's 180 BST. And this is mostly about the mathematics here. She comes back in late January, and Hector comes back in late December. It might be a good idea to strongly consider pulling for Hector if you wanted to give yourself a higher ceiling in Arena, because green is still the ideal pool to pull from, okay? You have Lecter's going to cost, on average, less orbs than a plus 10 Tiki would. And on top of that, the green pool right now has green dual infantry to take advantage of. Of course, the other ones might come in the future, but again, Sorin, Merrick, and Raven are quite available. They show up commonly, and they have decent stat spreads for being able to support, whether that's through Water Sweep, Wind Sweep, Poison Strikes, Ploys, Chill Attack from Sorin's weapon. These are all good options. The blue pool, unfortunately, doesn't have 3 and 4 star units that are as adaptive, I would say. I think some of the best would be like Shigure, maybe. You know, it's really like for guidance or something, you know, and his good speed would work really well with Sweet Poison Strike. But generally speaking, maybe you'd use like Corrin, like I just showed here with the Breath build, which we get blue dual infantry. Noe might be too slow to be running a build like that, so you know it ends up being a little bit less awkward, and you'll see those units a lot less because that pool is more saturated. Overall though, that's all I really wanted to say for this video, so thanks for watching. Again, feel free to let me know about your comments, like in the comments below, what you think of Tiki being released, whether it really impacts you in such a way, and if it does, I'd like to see and hear some constructive arguments as to why she might be a negative for the game rather than a positive. I didn't see this as being some sort of, you know, Fez demise. I don't think it is yet. Okay, thanks for watching. You know, give it a thumbs up if you love the content. Subscribe if you haven't already. I'll see you guys in the next video, alright? Peace.